Good evening, good evening, good evening. It's a beautiful Friday night, August 5th, 2020. A lot going on today and a lot going on in the news, everywhere, not just China, but central bank and jobs reports coming out. Pentagon not helping with DC immigrants. A lot happening. But how you guys doing this evening? Hopefully you guys are having a great evening. I want to say hi, Debbie, Sarah, Richard, Sandra, Amber, Sabrina, Deanne, Jackie, Faye, Mike, Matt, Hank, Karen, Billy. You guys are all having a good night out there. Hit that share button if you can and that like button. Show us some love. Losing power for last night. I've seen a couple northern states up there, northeastern states were out of power because of storms. Just in small clusters, though. It's only going to get worse, though. Farmer's Almanac, of course, is projecting a hard, deep winter this year, which would make sense having a hot summer going to a hard, deep winter. So, no biggie there. Everybody's seen that coming, I'm sure. But what's it going to mean for gas prices? A hard, deep winter, of course. And we haven't seen any hurricanes yet, even the Hurricane Hunters or Hurricane Central is watching because this year is supposed to have a massive hurricane season. So where are we going to end up with that? I mean, one good hurricane knocks a refinery offline. Fuel prices are back up to over $5 a gallon overnight. But we're facing a warning from China, basically saying that they won't help the U.S. with drugs and climate after Pelosi's visit to Taiwan. This could mean a huge problem. I mean, China's foreign minister, as a countermeasure to the U.S., including breaking off anti-drug trafficking and climate change as security ties in response to Nancy Pelosi. Now, you don't understand how much this backfires for us here in the United States, because they're the ones that confirm a lot of these prescription medications that we get here in the United States are actually coming from legitimate companies. If they are no longer verifying that these are legitimate companies producing actual medications, what do we have to say? Who do we know where our medications come from? All our medications pretty much come from China. 90% of them in the U.S. come from China. China has also previously vowed to make forceful measures against D.C. in the U.S., arguing Pelosi's independent talks with Taiwan's president is threatening Chinese sovereignty, which I feel it is too. We signed the One China policy. We agreed upon it. And we're not following the One China policy we acclaim to. China is commencing large-scale military exercises on a show of force over Taiwan. I'm sure you guys seen it. Multiple missiles were fired over Taipei even this morning. The U.S. has remained muted. We haven't said anything to the response. We haven't shown any show of force. We haven't shown that we're going to step up and be there for Taiwan. Our countermeasures are only necessary as a warning to provocateurs, according to them. But there's no sign that we're going to do anything. China at this point is looking like they're going to push this to the end. China says it's no longer cooperating with the U.S. on counter illicit drug trafficking. China's manufacture and export-based ingredients using products used in producing drugs like fentanyl have sparked an additional crisis in the U.S. and led to spikes of lethal overdoses. Those will no longer be monitored either by leaving China. They're going to let them go to the U.S. China will place fentanyl under a controlled regulatory scheme. It did back in 2019. But Chinese traders instead turned to Mexican drug smuggling cartels to continue funneling narcotics to the U.S. But now, they don't have to do that. They can directly send it to it in the U.S. and label it as anything they want. So you could go to take a medication that is a legitimate over-the-counter medication. It could actually be fentanyl. Because that's what they're doing. Yes, that's what I'm talking about, Billy, right now. They're cutting all communications. Not only that, they're allowing these drugs to be pushed through these remote channels. I think war is imminent at this point. I mean, even Blinken said Chinese military drills today are significant escalation of what we've been seeing. This is no longer just a drill. When they're firing missiles over Taipei directly and then making threats saying missiles fired could easily do this. They could easily fire missiles from their home stations over Japan, basically saying they could take Japan out too. I don't know if you guys know, but if they take Taiwan out, they can't force anybody to make semiconductors. They're very fine-tuned work. So they're not going to go and force people to do it. We would lose 90% of higher-end semiconductors manufacturing in the U.S. or for the world at that rate. We're watching this unfold time and time again. And now Pelosi, I don't know if you guys heard, Pelosi plans on going to South Korea and then going to the North Korean border. Of course, pushing more issues. Pelosi's next visit, that's her next thing that she's doing, is actually going to that border, the North Korean border, and out of South Korea. It's just ridiculous watching what's happening. Yeah, Russian bombed U.S. force in Syria. You got jihadists attacking Israel right now. Literally, as we speak, Israel's being attacked. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about what's happening. We got a whole bunch of stuff happening in Taiwan. China cuts all contact with the U.S. over Pelosi's visit. And that just happened hours ago. That we have lost all contact. China cannot, China's isolation of visitation of Taiwan is their right. Of course, if we signed one world or one China policy and we agreed upon it like we did, why are we stepping in the middle of it again? It's just looking like we want war at this point. And it's not good for us. And then we got the jobs report that come out today, and this is a joke. This jobs report is a joke, saying the U.S. added 528,000 jobs this month, or last month. I can tell you that number. There is no way, because we've had layoffs of over 244,000 jobs a week or more. A week. That was over 1 million jobs that got laid off last month. And you're going to tell me U.S. employers added 500,000 jobs while laying off 1 million people? I don't know. Those numbers seem kind of fishy to me, especially when you add up those numbers with the obvious loss. Obviously, it's this straight off line. It's not a question, because I looked up the job numbers and I was keeping track of the weekly numbers. When you have weekly layoffs of 244,000 or more, you cannot have a month that all of a sudden there was 500,000 jobs out of the economy. It doesn't happen that way. Unemployment's down even another percentage point, even though there was more people applying for unemployment in the last 2 weeks than there has been in the last 3 months. Explain that. In the last 2 weeks, more people are employed or applied for unemployment than in the last 3 months. but yet percentage of unemployment still went down. You can fudge numbers all you want, but eventually the truth is going to come out. The math does not go together. This is a math that doesn't even make sense at this point. Even economists are shocked. Over 200 economists are saying even the spending bill, that Mitchell's spending bill, is going to kill the economy even more and perpetuate inflation. Saying that the jobs numbers are wrong. Saying this Inflation Reduction Act is actually going to make things worse. But they're still pushing it through. They don't care. We're in a recession. We're suffering as American citizens. They do not care. Yeah. Laying off people. Manager at Best Buy got laid off. That's ridiculous. 8 years working there. And you're going to tell me that there's not a problem? I'm sorry, but if they're laying off everybody that's making over the minimum wage of $7.25 and only hiring people at $7.25, that is the definition of a depression, not a recession, a depression. When people of higher pay grades are being laid off to fill those spots with lower paid workers because companies can no longer afford it, that is a depression. Making the whole economy spin downward and a downward spiral so fast that it will hit us in the ass within months. The skyrocketing inflation that we've already been seeing is just going to be compounded more by this Inflation Reduction Act, which dumps more money into the market. Dumps more money that has nothing. Yeah, you pay people less money. They can't afford their housing. They can't afford anything. The price of everything, it keeps increasing daily. That's when a depression happens, when people can no longer afford to live. And we already have food lines in the U.S. here. Hi, Billy. How you doing tonight?
What's up, Chris? How you doing?
Oh, it's crazy out there. It's crazy out there. We got food lines in America. We got our government saying one thing about jobs reports. Taiwan, obviously, now we're being cut off from China's even conversation.
Yeah, I wanted to just say I'm watching this full spectrum prepping survival video right now. The guy gives updates like twice a day almost. He's saying now that China is putting a complete embargo on Taiwan. Nothing's moving in and out of it now.
That happened Wednesday, or last time it was live, so Wednesday. The embargo started Wednesday.
Wow.
Yep.
It's happening fast. And meanwhile, where's Biden, Chris? I don't believe that he's got COVID a second time. This guy hasn't been seen in public in over a week now. What is going on with this?
He has COVID for a second time, but yet he's doing okay. But yet he hasn't made a public appearance or spoke about what's happening in Kentucky or what's happening in Las Vegas.
Oh, that really pisses me off. These poor people in Kentucky. And all right, I understand. Okay, he can't go there because he's supposedly having COVID a second time. But Harris can't go.
Well, it doesn't matter. Even if Harris can't go, make a public announcement about it. Make a public condolence about it. This is the president of the United States not doing shit. Literally not caring at this point.
You know, maybe Pelosi, instead of flying all over Asia last week, maybe she should have flew down to Kentucky.
Well, she's still in Asia. People don't realize she's still in Asia. She's going to visit the North Korean border in She's going to South Korea and going to visit the North Korean border. This is going to be fucking trouble. North Korea, it does not play.
She's going to try to pull the Trump thing when he stepped over the line. She's going to try to do the same thing.
I think she is. And guess what? North Korea is not going to play that game with her.
Yeah.
I could see this escalating North Korea into firing a nuclear missile. They're trying to get a war at this point. That's what I see. If nobody else sees it.
This whole thing, Chris, cutting off communication, that's huge. That is huge. Countries don't normally do that.
Yep.
I mean, that is a big thing, and people aren't talking about it. I mean, also they said they cut off communications between the higher-ups in the military.
Yeah, all communications with the U.S. have been cut.
So it's almost like the United States and Russia when they used to have the red phone. Remember that thing?
Yep.
It's almost like doing away with the red phone now.
Yep. This is a scary situation. And then them directly saying they're going to let fentanyl pass under any drug. Now all our prescription drugs come from China, or 87%. Yeah. So 87% of the prescription drugs you pick up in the pharmacy could now contain fentanyl. What are we going to test every pill?
I don't know, man. All I can say is just go to the store, keep buying bottled water, keep buying some food, and I don't know, just try
Stock
to
up all you can. Stock up
Yeah.
all you can. I think I haven't got to this yet, but I think everybody's going to love this today. The Pentagon denied DC's request for National Guard for controlling the migrants
saw
that are being
story,
bussed off there. This is freaking awesome. The Pentagon is now telling DC, you made the problem, deal with it, basically. And they deserve it.
Yeah, Mayor Adams up in New York City is not too happy. The news has shown the first bus to arrive in Manhattan with the illegals coming off. So I guess he doesn't like that. So.
Yeah, the DC is now flooded. National Guard assistance is not going to be provided. We're going to see a humanitarian crisis, yes. But the problem is they should shut the border. The southern states are paying for them to get bussed up there because they can't do anything about stopping them coming in the country.
Yeah.
So why not bust them where they need to go?
I don't know. Well, all I can say, let's everybody pray, man, because whether we like it or not, I think the
shit's gonna hit the fan.
SHTF is gonna really be big, and it's gonna happen sooner than later.
Yeah, shit's gonna hit the fan.
Man. I'll talk to you soon.
Well, God bless you, man. Stay safe.
You
too. Yeah, Bowser freaking crying and whining in her pants up there. DC National Guard will not be there to help them, begging for more open-ended deployment of National Guard members, as much as 150 more per day for housing or mass housing preceding the center, and mentioning DC's armory and logistical or logic candidates. This is what should be happening. People are pushing to show that there's a problem at the border. People need to be seeing this. DC needs to be feeling what they caused in the rest of the country. And they're feeling it now. And now they're crying and whining. Over 400 migrants have been delivered to Union Station so far. 200 buses. With no resources, no clue what to do. This is what they get. They want them, they got them. DC should have thought about this long before it played this role. I mean, you're running a country, you're not running a food pantry. We have people here in America starving as we speak. We're lying about job numbers. The central bank is buying up gold to protect against threat of sovereign debt crisis. The central bank is buying up gold. When's the last time you've seen the central bank buy up gold? That's a big question. Buying up gold, of course, even though supposedly heavy pressure on gold and silver as the strong U.S. job data. That's when they want to put out publicly. But why is the central bank buying up gold in record numbers now? Over 40-year high of buying up gold. A lot of stress in the economy. Investment firms and investors buying up over $700 million in asset management of gold today. International Monetary Fund buying up gold, as well as the Federal Reserve. We're seeing a gold buyout. The central bank purchased 270 tons of gold in the first half of this year. 270 tons of gold in the first half of this year. That's a lot of gold. Last week, the central bank bought up 59 tons just last week. They're getting ready because they know the currency is not going to be worth anything. If it's not me saying this is the truth. During the Depression, the gold was confiscated by every single citizen in the United States. You were exactly right, Charlotte. Now we have the central bank, the International Monetary Fund, the Federal Reserve, all buying up gold in alarming numbers. Even though the same time this is happening, this article got posted today. That heavy pressure on gold and silver after U.S. strong jobs, saying gold is now down $21. And silver is down 50 cents. Are they pushing a false negative so people don't look at it and start selling off their commodities? That's the question. If people sell off their commodities, there are more commodities for them to buy and more for them to control. And control is what this is all about. It's all going back to control. China doesn't want to deal with us anymore. Russia doesn't want to deal with us anymore. China and Russia have been stocking up on gold crazily. But now we're seeing major monetary funds in the world. Central Bank and the International Monetary Fund and the Federal Reserve buying up gold at staggering amounts. Not just a little bit at a time. Where are we going to end up in a couple weeks? That's what I want to know. Even economists now are saying there's an extreme problem. It's sad. It is sad. Well, when they're buying up gold at this crazy amount, obviously they expect everything to downward spiral. If inflation keeps going at the rate it's going, your money won't be worth anything. When you're paying $800 for a cheeseburger, $35,000 for a cheeseburger, like if you go to Venezuela now. In Venezuela's currency, before their problem of collapse, the corruption they had, they were a democracy. They collapsed the democracy, and of course, the corruption took a hold, and it collapsed the democracy, and their inflation went skyrocketing. It was already high. It was like ours is now. You look at the charts, and then it just went skyrocketing. Their inflation to where the point where you're spending literally $35,000 to buy a cheeseburger with their currency. People say, oh, that can't happen here. America's too big to fail. China is closing their borders to us. The only reason we're too big to fail is because China needed us as a trade partner. If China is no longer communicating with us and no longer needs us as a trade partner, where are we left? What do we have left? Before it was exchange of money between us and China, back and forth. Two big players in the world commodities. So goods were traded for other goods, but now China doesn't want to play that game with us. They produce everything. We produce raw material, yes. It's sad. And people don't see it. People didn't see this coming. People still don't want to believe it's happening. Beef is getting ready to go through the roof. Plants, or we already know plants and everything, any kind of vegetable or wheat, or that's going to have huge implications, especially come harvest time when the people realize how much stuff has already been paid in because they couldn't even keep the crop in the field long enough to grow it. It's just ridiculous. Not only that, we placed our nice HIMARS rocket systems in Ukraine. And guess what Russia's figured out how to do now? These anti-aircraft, anti-missile rocket systems that are used in the United States to defend the United States from rockets and missiles coming in and planes. Russia has now learned how to take them out. They've gotten, because there's only one or two there, they've gotten a chance to study them and figure out how they work and take them out. It's just crazy out there. But God bless you guys. Thank you for being here with us tonight. We will be back on tomorrow night at, of course, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you set a reminder, and because we don't always get notifications sent out, we don't know why, but definitely hit that like button. U.S. fleet sitting ducks outside of Taiwan. Yes, they are. We're gonna watch what happens. Pray for the best, but prepare for anything at this point. Literally, we have to be prepared for anything. No, we don't have enough to protect ourselves, but God bless. Stay safe, stay informed, and watch what's actually happening. Don't let this news or people whitewash over what's happening or try to make it look like nothing is going on at all. Look over here at these hands when the world's getting destroyed. God bless you guys. I'll see you tomorrow night.